offer is when essentially a coach has viewed your information, feels that you would be a suitable candidate, and they're attracted to the athlete that you are. And offers may come in year 11, they could come in year 10, year 9, just really depends on the quality of the individual.
Student before athlete, student always before athlete. We have to look at the academic side of things first when searching for an institution. Hi and welcome to NSR Australia's very first podcast. My name is Jacob Richards, former NSR student athlete. Now we're very excited to add this feature to the NSR program. I will be sharing podcasts every second month for the athletes and families on the program, as well as families outside of the program that may be looking, this is a potential pathway. We will cover a variety of topics over the coming months that will help give you a better understanding of the pathway itself, the processes involved when it comes to finding opportunities. We'll also speak to current and former NSR athletes like myself and much more. We've implemented the podcast to really help educate people on the pathway and all the different variables that come into play when searching for opportunities in the States. So today we're going to be talking about college offers. It's that time of the year when 2017 athletes are getting ready to depart and 2018 athletes are preparing to receive offers. So how do we actually bring you offers? What comes first when searching for a college offer? And a few other important pieces. To talk about this, we have Matt Wade, NSR Australia's head prospect manager. So Matt, welcome to our very first podcast.
Jacob, great to be here, man. Really appreciate the invite.
Awesome. So we'll get straight into it. What do we mean when we use the word offer? What is an offer? What is a college offer?
An offer is when essentially a coach has viewed your information, feels that you would be a suitable candidate, and they're attracted to the athlete that you are, and essentially invite you to be a part of their program. That offer can come with scholarship. That offer can come from a school that's not allowed to offer scholarship. So it could be either way.
So kind of like myself, where I had to go in without scholarship and prove myself and earn a scholarship, throughout the remainder of my college years.
Well, exactly. I recruited you. I should know. That was it. We had a policy within our program that, first year students we would bring in and, they would prove themselves. They would earn their scholarship for their second year. And that's when, second year, money was handed out and costs, would significantly decrease.
So essentially a coach is just offering you a position on his or her program.
Correct.
Awesome. And when can an athlete expect to receive an offer? What year level would they be in? What time of the year will it be? What sort of a timeline of when an athlete can receive an offer?
Really just depends on the athlete. If you're standard sort of athletes, like a lot of times in your year 12 year, between the months of September and sort of the following June, that's a big window where the majority of our kids will receive offers. But if you've got some really high performance athletes, offers may come in year 11, they could come in year 10, year 9, just really depends on the quality of the individual.
So there isn't really a set, few months where an athlete can and has to receive an offer. It's sort of spread out over, their high school years, I guess.
Certainly, yeah. Now, any offer before November of your year 12 year is considered unofficial. It's November of your year 12 year that you can officially sign a letter of intent to officially commit to a university. So anything before that, offers can be made. Things can change with those offers, but for the majority of kids, it's offers will come in that year 12 year. A lot of times from, like I said, the months of September until the following June, for an August entry.
So a very important part of the process, and one of the most difficult parts of the process, is understanding where you can get an offer from and where you fit in. You know, not everyone can get an offer from Harvard from an academic standpoint, obviously, and not every basketballer can play at Kentucky, for example. So how do you figure out what schools are suitable for each individual athlete?
Well, the simple answer is that there is no simple answer. Every single athlete is different, and I think the thing is, you have to give respect to both sides of the equation. The first and most important thing is the academic side. You're a student before you're an athlete when you're a student athlete. So that's where we'll start. You have to be able to sit there and determine where your grades will qualify for admission based on your GPA as well as your SAT or ACT standardized test score. They don't use ATAR scores and things like that. They're going to use your cumulative GPA from year 9 through 12 on a 4-point scale, as well as the combination of your standardized test score, which is either the SAT or the ACT. So the College Board, which is the organization that runs the SAT, they have a really good search engine and a really good tool called Big Future. It allows you to really look at all schools across the country and look at admission standards, look at SAT requirements, ACT requirements, and get sort of an understanding as to where your individual grades fit in, because that's the first thing that you've got to look at. Once you figure out what schools that you can get into, you then have to do the research and figure out what schools offer the coursework that you want to study. So very first thing is strictly academic. From that point, it's figuring out where your ability as an athlete fits in to the spectrum of 2,600 plus institutions. Are you a super high level athlete that's also super academic? You're going to open the door to a lot of different schools. If you're a super high level athlete and mediocre academically, then you're going to cut down on some of those schools, but there's still going to be a handful of options out there. If you're super high academic and not super high athletic, there's still a heap of options out there for you. It's just about really figuring out where your ability stands in comparison to all the different divisions, competitions, everything, and then really going out and approaching coaches. That's really the key. Trial and error, and using the feedback that you receive from each program to sort of plan your next move.
So again, just using myself as an example, coming out of high school in Australia, I wasn't the greatest student in the world. I was C's and B's. I graduated high school, wasn't the most talented soccer player in the world, but I guess a smaller institution suited me a little bit better. I could go in, lift my grades. The class sizes were a little bit smaller, so I could adjust a lot quicker and get the feel of college itself. And I guess going to a smaller 2-year institution, I could go in and prove myself and play, in my first year, to then, be able to transfer on, for my 3rd and 4th year at a bit bigger of an institution.
I think that's the best thing about the U.S. system is that the flexibility. Whether you're super high academic and you want to study engineering, or you're a mediocre academic that wants to study sports science, like you still have this core curriculum in your 1st and 2nd year that you're going to have to complete. And that's where 2-year colleges are really beneficial, because they're going to provide the first 2 years of coursework no matter what you want to study. They allow a really good environment for you to, like you said, build your GPA, use the experience of playing in competition on U.S. soil as a springboard to the next level. So we've had kids go from junior colleges to Cornell in the Ivy League. We've had kids go from 4-year university to 4-year university. Like the concept of transferring and being able to to move around, that's a big part of it. But another key factor, and really, what controls the world, Jacob, is a budget, is money. It's if you got to have to, you plan your journey based on what it is that you can spend on an annual basis, and those offers that come in, with scholarship, without scholarship, wherever the the money's coming from, or if it's not coming, like, does the cost actually fit what it is that you can spend on a yearly basis? So it's a combination of all those things that really determines where an offer is going to come from.
Awesome. So I guess to sum it up, student before athlete, student always before athlete. We have to look at the academic side of things first when searching for an institution. Then we need to find out, I guess, where we fit in athletically, and a very important part you just mentioned is obviously, budget. What can I realistically afford for my first year?
Right. And so, when you think about that, let's say that you found the school that you can get into that suits what you want to study, that fits your athletic profile. Coach really interested in you, but he can't provide enough scholarship to actually make it affordable. That offer doesn't work. You got to keep looking.
Okay, awesome. So now we know how to find schools that are suitable for us. What comes after creating a short list of schools that we can get into? Let's say, do we contact the coach straight away, or what sort of happens from there?
Well, that's it. Look, once you've compiled a short list, and let's say that you got 25 to 50 schools that you're interested in going to, you have to make contact. So what you'll do is you go onto the website, you find the coach's contact details, and you shoot them an email. You introduce yourself, you state your intention and what you hope to accomplish with that conversation, and see where that conversation leads you. And the email is just the first step. You got to remember too that these coaches are receiving contact from probably 50 to 100 athletes every day, a couple hundred athletes a week. I know when I was a head coach overseas, like that was certainly what was happening with me, and I had to filter through a lot of things. So you want to be really efficient with your communication, and you want to be efficient, but you want to be thorough, because you can't just shoot an email and cross your fingers and hope that that's going to be it. Then comes a phone call, then comes trying to connect through social media, then comes getting on LinkedIn, then connecting with the assistant coach. You got to do everything that you can to attract the attention of that program, to invoke a conversation, because once that conversation starts, that's when you can really share who you are and what it is that you're hoping to accomplish.
And when we've created a list of schools for one of our athletes, we don't come in 8 o'clock in the morning to send an email to a coach. What sort of happens, when we're helping our athletes, find opportunities?
It's a great question. Well, look, you can't expect anybody to work on your time. That's plain and simple. The coaches are very, very busy. They're in the office early, planning training sessions. Some of them are teachers. They've got responsibilities on campus. Then they're running training sessions, team meetings. By the end of their day, they're knackered, and they go to sleep. And when we're dealing with a 15, 16, 17, 18-hour time difference, we have to work on their time. So when we come into the office, prime example, I was in the office this morning at 4:30. I had about 15 coaches that I needed to follow up with. Either that, or I'll come in at midnight, go from midnight to about 3 in the morning. Either find their early morning hours or their afternoon hours before they're out at training. And literally every school is different. Every coach is different in terms of when they're going to be in the office. So you really just have to, like I said, trial and error. Try late in your evenings, 11, 12 o'clock, wee hours of the morning, as well as, getting up, starting at 5 a.m. and going to 8 a.m. Because that'll be sort of their afternoon. So every coach is a little bit different, and you just got to figure out, when works best for that particular coach.
Awesome. So we've got into a school, we've received an official offer from a coach. Do I just pack my bags and buy plane tickets? What sort of happens from when an official offer comes through?
Well, I wish it was that easy, Jacob. But, all this work that you've done to get in contact with the coach and share your information, and let's say an offer comes, like, that's fantastic. But what you need to realize is, all the effort that it took to get to that point, that's all well and good, but now the process actually starts.
Okay, thank you for joining us, Matt. So next month, we'll be talking about school applications as well as visa applications and the whole process involved there. An extremely important part of the process, if not the most. So make sure you're listening next month for our podcast on school and visa applications. Now, I would also like to remind you that we have webinars every month for athletes and families on the program. We'll also have a single webinar for athletes that aren't on the program and are looking at this as a potential pathway. And we have also just opened up applications for the new NSR agent program. If you would like to help identify talented young athletes in your area, then the agent program could be something for you. If you would like more information on this, please email us at the email address in the description below. We thank you all for listening. Tune in next month for our next topic, which, as I mentioned, was school applications and visa applications. Thanks, guys. Bye.